Good morning, Bella Vista. It's time for another city update with our mayor, John Flynn. Good morning, John.
Good morning. It's
Excuse
great
me,
to be here.
Mr. Mayor, sorry. Yes, so we have got some very interesting things to talk about today. What we try to do, folks, is make sure if you weren't able to attend city council work sessions and things like that, that we give an update of what has happened since we talked last, right?
Right.
So let's jump right in and go to the elephant in the room, if you don't mind. And let's talk about the update, anything you can tell us on the situation with short-term rentals.
Yeah, it's in litigation, so I won't say too much. But, we passed an ordinance about short-term rentals in December of last year, and there was some litigation about it. And the judge gave a temporary restraining order on the grounds it may be unconstitutional. So our choices were to do nothing or to appeal to the state Supreme Court. Or the choice we chose is we repealed that ordinance and enacted a new ordinance that was at a special meeting last week. We enacted a new ordinance which was easy, I guess I would say, was quite a bit different. It was easier on the short-term rental owners in an effort to make something that was compliant. So that's still in litigation, so we'll see where that goes. But what we've always been trying to do is do something that's good for the citizens and also fair to the short-term rental owners, kind of find that middle ground. So.
Okay, a lot of folks are saying, oh, it's the same ordinance. It truly isn't. If people would read it, it's very much slimmed down to what it was.
Yeah, it's quite a bit different. We took quite a few of the requirements off. So I think most short-term rental owners will be quite happy with it, actually. So.
Okay, well, that sounds good. We all wait impatiently to find out what happens next.
Yeah.
But I know you have a lot more things to think about and to work on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I wanted to talk a little bit about this concept of broadband
Oh,
improvement.
please, yes.
That's something came up during the campaign. People are very interested in. We have some spots in Bella Vista where maybe you don't have good coverage, internet coverage, or maybe not any at all, even in a few spots. So that's something I'm working on. They made up the idea is the state, federal government has some money, and they want the states to get set up and have county commissions to work on it. So I joined the commission for Benton County, and we ended up merging with Washington County to have one group to cover both. And one of the key movers and shakers on it is Barry Mooring, who's, of course, the county judge. He's over the county. And but, from my point of view, I'm going to those meetings, and I'm going to every meeting I get my hands on, because sometimes the National League of Cities has meetings you can attend on Zoom, and the state will have meetings bringing you up to date. So I'm going to all those to try to educate myself and get as much knowledge as possible. And it turns out to be quite a challenge. The two companies we have right now in Bella Vista are Cox and AT&T. And the challenge is it's very, very expensive to expand into new areas. So even if you have 10, 20 houses, things like that, they're very reluctant to do it. And the federal government is starting to throw a lot of money at the problem, but they're very prejudiced toward rural areas.
Yes.
And they're prioritizing those. So they don't think we qualify as a rural area. And Bella Vista has some additional challenges because of our rocky terrain and whatnot. It's well known that it's harder to put it in here than it is in some other cities, even in the area. But what I've found so far, what's happening is the federal government has given a 2-year contract to Cox, and it's for very specific areas. There's even a list of addresses. If you were right next door to that list of address, there's no way you could get anything done. You've got to be
Goodness.
on that list. So it's a list in our area, you know, and I looked at the map of it, and one of the place they're working the hardest right now is in Highville, but they believe they'll be completely finished in 2 years, and part of their area they're covers what I would characterize as the extreme south and west of Bella Vista. It just sneaks up into that area a little bit. So some people will be happy. But I'm working on, trying to get everybody covered. And the federal government is saying by the year 2028, 2030, the entire country will be covered. There'll be no gaps. And I know a lot of people in the field are pretty skeptical that that's possible. But we'll see. It is an interesting problem and a thorny. I knew it was going to be a heavy lift, but I thought we need to work on it and pay attention and see what we can get accomplished.
So how did people get on that list? That was selected quite a while ago?
Yeah, I guess so. It's a done deal. But that's just one thing that's going on. There's a lot of different things that are going on, and that's what the county's working on. Barry Mooring in the past had put in for some grants, and Benton County got completely shut out, and he was not very happy about that, naturally. But one of there's all kinds of pros and cons to it, and one of the things Benton County suffers from a little bit in grants is called "You're Too Rich."
I was just going
Yeah.
to say, it's got a reputation for
Yeah.
being a kind of a wealthy part of the
A lot of
state.
times they'll prioritize some outlying area in Arkansas, which certainly we have a lot of rural areas in our state, or they'll prioritize an area that's particularly disadvantaged and whatnot. And that's kind of the way the federal government thinks about things. So you have to work through things as best you can and see what you can get accomplished.
So what's the old adage, patience is a virtue, but it's sure hard to
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think it's important to work on it, not just sit back and,
totally.
yeah.
Thank you.
So-
Thank you for doing that. That's great. So that's a 2-year plan right
Well,
now?
that particular thing
Thing
Cox
is-
has is
it's
a
a
2-year.
two-year plan with the
yeah,
federal government.
And interesting statistic, Benton County has 135,000 residences. I had no idea how many they had, never thought about it. And 1/3 of them are underserved or unserved for
Really?
broadband. So it's a pretty big task. If you think about that, that's over 100,000 homes or condominiums or whatever, or apartments that need better service.
Yeah, and I would think, not that everybody doesn't deserve broadband, they do, but I would think, especially for schools, for school children, because a lot of schools right now, they're still doing TV.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
And also those folks that work from home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's made it such a big item is people work from home now more, and also the school situation. Well, you notice in winter now when they have snow days, a lot of times they still have school, only
right.
it's remote. So
That's right.
Yeah, so you're very disadvantaged if you don't have effective service,
That's
obviously.
right. That's right. Well, thank you. Please keep working on it.
Yes.
All right, so I know for sure that I've seen a lot of activity on road paving lately. Can you kind of tell us where we are there?
Yeah, our road paving for this year is a little bit sooner than usual. And right now, the slurry and the asphalt overlay, we see those as two different camps. They are both underway right now. And for slurry, we have 30-some miles we're doing this year, and for asphalt overlay, 9 miles. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, we had this problem where there's roads with new houses on them that aren't paved, and there's 14 miles, and so we decided to start whacking away at that little at a time. So we're doing 2 miles of it this year. So the
Okay.
9 miles of paving, 2 of them is places where there's new homes and have not been paved. So
Good.
we're going to start working our way through that problem. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
I know those folks will be happy. So, Lower Dogwood is complete?
Yeah, they went quite quickly, quite a bit ahead of schedule. It was supposed to be done sometime in August, actually. And right from the first, they're working very fast. And, that was knocked out, I think it was around April 2022 by a storm. And it took a while because it's near the creek and whatnot, to do the engineering, figure out the best way to do it, and make sure we had all the proper permits and whatnot. So we're pleased about that. That was a little bit of an issue. Some of the folks thought, well, maybe you shouldn't have it be a through street anymore, but it's been a through street since the 70s.
Yeah.
So it goes way back. But anyway, we were real pleased the way that came out. It was real quality work, and we feel good about it.
So take that off your list.
Yeah.
All right. The next thing, and boy, I've seen some progress, really, people are asking about are the bridges.
Mm-hmm.
Mercy Way now has, that corner's getting better.
Yeah.
What about Mercy Way?
Yeah.
That's ours, right?
Yeah, that's done by the city. It's Manhattan Road and Bridge, and they are the same people that did the overpass that goes over 71, which was a really big job. But on Mercy Way, they're saying now they'll have substantial completion by August 2, and it'll be completed technically entirely by August 31.
Which includes the corner there by the gas station?
Yeah.
The whole thing?
Yeah. So, because there's quite a bit of work on the corner and whatnot. They're changing that a bit. So that one's coming along really well. Now, on the other bridges, everyone asked me about these ones on Lancashire, which the state is doing. And the one on Tanyard Creek is going to be completed, they're saying this summer. So I guess I would say late August. Somebody says it's summer to me in the construction business. So it's finally coming along. And the other bridge over Little Sugar has quite a ways to go. They actually said late spring or early summer 2024. So you might notice in my chart I put down summer 2024. Because having dealt with construction for a while, I realize this.
Especially the state. They've got a lot going on.
Yeah, and it's funny, this area of the state, there's been a tremendous amount of construction and freeways and whatnot. In fact, when you go down to Arkansas Municipal League, and people are there from all over the state, from different cities, they're kind of jealous of our area, kind of like, oh, why do these guys get all the freeways? But a lot of it has to do with the growth,
Oh, I know.
There's so much growth in northwest Arkansas.
Yes.
So,
yes. Yeah. Well, it's pretty exciting. I moved up here from Texas, and in Texas, it's in a Houston area. It's in a state of perpetual upgrade. Mm-hmm. So here, I've noticed, even though people feel like it's a little slower than usual, it isn't really. And things happen pretty quickly here in Arkansas.
Yeah.
So, all right, stay tuned, folks. Now, those bridges are I'm kind of, going to be sad to lose that cool little curve that looks like it was put in there forever over the creek, but that will be really nice. And just as a reminder, in case there's somebody new watching, those bridges and things like that will also have bike lane, correct?
Yeah.
Along the side, and even walking, or is that just at the Mercy Way where?
I think there may be a little bit of walking space, too. We're trying to get in a situation where there's more connectivity and people can walk or bike places on hard surface.
Right.
So that's one of the goals for the future.
So we can't do sidewalks like everybody else here, but we can put in connecting hard surface trails and to get people to go to where they need to.
Yeah.
You're working on something like that.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
Good deal, good deal. Okay, so fire station?
There's a lot going on with the fire department. Fire station number 1, the police have moved out. And so I was checking on the status on that, and they're going to have something come before City Council in August. So they think the demolition of, now when they say demolition of the old police they're talking internal. The
Internal.
walls and roof and everything are staying because they've determined that the reason they're doing this is they found that the structure is very strong and very good.
That's surprising. It
yeah.
doesn't look like it's very strong, but it's
Yeah.
good to know that it is.
Yeah. So they're going to start the demo in September, and then they're going to, that area where the police were is going to be the new living quarters, and they're putting the offices for the fire, like fire chief and his assistant, whatnot, right out front. They're coming out front a little more. A lot of people said they have 3 bays in there, and we're going to 5 bays. People said, well, how are you getting the room for 5 bays? Well, that's how they're getting the room, by taking those. See, now the fire chief's offices are kind of in the middle between the police and the city hall.
Oh.
If you put them out front, then you've created some extra space there for, and the new bays are going to be taller and longer, because fire trucks are taller and longer. We got the new ladder truck,
Yeah.
and it barely fits in the bay by about 2 inches. So.
Well, you got some really skilled drivers trying to
Yeah.
back that thing or pull through even, yes.
Yeah, you don't want to leave any ladders up, that's for sure. So
No.
anyway, so that'll take about a year to refurbish that and add the offices on the front. That's just one stage of that construction, and that'll take a year. And then the other thing that's happening is the fire station, or the fire training tower, which is, up further north, just west of 71. And the building is coming along pretty good. It'll probably be done around October, late October. The training tower itself is going to be delivered in pieces August 7.
Like Lego?
Yeah, and there's a specialized group that does that because it's kind of specialized work. So they're going to assemble that, and they think that'll be done around December. So the whole thing should be late December, early January. The training tower will be done. So
Excellent.
can I say there's a tremendous amount of activity on the fire side of things, construction-wise, this year.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Yeah, and next year.
Yes. Well, there are a lot of things that have recently happened and some things that are coming up. I understand that the 4th of July event was a huge success.
Yeah, the fireworks went off really well as usual, and I wanted to give kudos to Discover Bella Vista. They helped the city with that. We each pay half the cost for that.
Good to know.
Yeah, and then the 4th of July parade went really well, and Tim and Julie Hall are running that now, and that's a tremendous effort on their part. I think they deserve a lot of credit. A lot of groups have said to us that's one of the most patriotic things, and they really enjoy it and appreciate it.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a fun thing. A lot of young kids come out. It's nice to see all the young kids out there. So it's a good crowd.
That's it.
Yeah.
So what other exciting things are there for people to do here that we could talk about today?
Well, I wanted to mention a couple things. The animal shelter just had their Pars for Paws golf tournament. I played in it.
Did ya?
But I can't remember the name. So anyway, I was on Saturday. They always do a great job on that, and it's a good fundraiser for them. So that's a fun thing. And of course, in October 14, they're having their Wiener dog race, which is probably one of the most popular things in the whole city. It's
so
amazing.
much fun.
Yeah, yeah. So that's coming up. And one thing I meant to mention was, last time I was on, I was talking about that golf tournament on June 21, and it was the longest day. And I was kind of concerned how that would come out because we were doing a totally different format this year. We used to have some of my pros come in and have a golf tournament with them. And in the POA, I thought it would be good to try and do just a one-day event. And the money's for charity, so I was a little concerned how it would go, and I was really thrilled for the Bella Vista Foundation. They ended up getting around $40,000, to distribute. I think it's 4 or 5 different charities they distribute to.
That's right.
So that's really a I was really thrilled with the success they had with that. So
Yeah, the POA was surprised and happy and have committed, I think, to do something again that's
Yeah.
just like, and the really fun part about that is, or the surprising part maybe, solved another problem, was even though it was really cool to have the pros and things like that associated, that a lot of regular golfers couldn't play that day because we
Yeah.
were having this tournament.
Yeah.
And so they were not really happy, but so the POA turned this around and said, okay, everybody play on the
Yeah.
longest day of the year,
Yeah.
and all of that money will
Yeah.
go to charities. You know, there's always, I like the Chinese saying that says there's opportunity in crisis, or if there's something going wrong here, there's a pony in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So, you know, just by forward thinking and rethinking, we all could do better
Yeah.
instead of just sticking with the same thing.
Yeah, I think what was happening, they had the men's tournament, and then they started having women's, and they were taking up the course with the pros 4 days or so.
Yeah.
And it gets to be a lot of days at the course, an awful lot of work for the POA folks. So they rethought a way to still have success. One of the problems I hope we get over next year, I played in it. I played that day and got some folks together to play. But a lot of people thought it was a tournament. And so they thought it would cost extra, or the competition would be really stiff, because if you had one big tournament for all Bella Vista, it would be pretty hard to win.
Yes.
But it really was just you go out and play that day, and
Yes.
all the greens fees go to the charity.
Yes. And
Just
I
play
think
like you normally would.
I think they got that message this year.
Yeah.
So I hope that works out. And the other part of that was really cool is the sock it to me, or whatever. They had the socks on
Yeah.
the golf carts,
Yeah.
and people put their change in.
Well, I was at the foundation meetings, and Katie Hinkle, one of the ladies, had that idea. And she said, "Oh, we're going to have socks on there. We're going to raise so much money." And I thought, well, that's a crazy idea. They ended up raising $3,800 from change people put in the socks. So it just shows.
That's that pony I was talking
Yeah,
about.
that's right. So I
Yeah.
got to give her credit. That
Absolutely.
was really good.
We've got several minutes here to fill, so I was just thinking that maybe we could, one of the things that I love to do is encourage Bella Vista to go to the city website. There is so much information there.
Mm-hmm.
And as we mentioned before, you have a new, upgraded website.
Yeah.
The calendar out there tells folks when meetings are happening, public meetings. We have a beautiful new courtroom, except I don't know about that noise on the roof. I think we have ghosts already or something. But beautiful new courtroom where all those meetings are held. Your work sessions, your special meeting was there the other night. The planning commission, the board of zoning adjust, all of that stuff happens there.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying mostly is Bella Vista, please stay informed. Most of that is recorded. And this show gives you the recap of what happened at the last city council meeting. So I'm encouraging,
Yeah.
as I'm sure
Yeah.
you would, for people to come out and actually be there at that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people may find it intimidating, but it really isn't. Would you kind of talk a little bit about the 3-minute rule and why that's that way?
Oh, well, yeah, if citizens want to speak at the city council meeting, they sign up to speak, and they have 3 minutes to, and they can speak about anything they like. It doesn't have to be something on the agenda even. And so they have 3 minutes, and the only reason they do that is, time-wise, to make sure everybody has a chance, it doesn't go too long. But sometimes there'll be tons of people sign up, and it'll take more than an hour. And a lot of times it's just 2 or 3 people. It's not really, it depends if something big's going on. I guess it's controversial.
Yes.
But you can also just go and not speak. But one of the things I've noticed the most, it's fine to speak and get on the record and be in the public. Some people are comfortable with that, some aren't. But the mayor and everybody on city council, their email and their phone is on the web.
Public
on the
knowledge.
Yeah. So you can there's nothing wrong with it. You know, some people send emails to the whole council if there's something they're concerned about. Or you can send it to a particular person, happens to be your city council member in your district. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can communicate effectively, and you know, we learn a lot of times what people are concerned about that way. So,
And that doesn't just go
yeah.
into a black hole. You all pay attention to those
yeah,
emails.
yeah.
Because a lot of folks think, well, it just, you know, doesn't go anywhere, but it does.
Yeah, I think my impression is, you know, I was on city council 8 years before I became mayor, and I think city council is more responsive to what people think than people realize. I mean, it really does affect them, and if a bunch of people start saying, hey, I have a problem with such and such, then it really gets your attention. You think, well, this is something we got to look into. So it does have an effect.
You know, another thing we could do, Mayor Flynn, I think it would be really fun, maybe not for you, but I'm thinking that, hey, Bella Vista, you know, one of the things that you actually could do is come to the studio on the third Wednesday of each month and be part of the studio audience and be able to talk directly to Mayor Flynn. You know, it'd be a little bit, kind of a question and answer maybe. Would
Yeah.
you be okay with that?
Sure.
Yeah, I think
that
it'd
would
be great.
Good. Yeah.
And it's another way for you to have input, for you to meet the mayor, for you to, you know, city council and the mayor, you're just regular people. You're not big scary folks, are you?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. You know, I've always felt like local government is more responsive to the people, and it's easier to get a hold of us, get to know us. One day I was in the post office, and a guy came in and saw me. He says, boy, now I know I'm in a small town. You go to the post office and you see the mayor there, standing in line to get stamps or whatever, right?
Or at the grocery store or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what else would you like to say to to our citizens? We have just a couple minutes left, but is there anything else that you can think of that we could help folks with or give them information?
Oh, well, there's a couple of things I didn't put on the list I thought of I should mention. You know, that street department's real proud of some of the things they've been doing, and they've been taking the old firehouse on Glasgow and turning it into a sand and salt storage facility, and that's pretty much done now.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, they just about completed it, and they wanted to make sure the color matched the other fire station that's across the street. And
Are they going to put a
you know,
sign or anything there, or
so-
just leave it painted and pretty?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is they're working on their premises a car wash. Now that's just for city vehicles,
Right.
so it's not quite as exciting as people might think.
Yeah.
But you know, we have so many vehicles, and we have a mechanic there at the street department, so they're going to put a car wash there so they can keep things in good shape.
Gosh,
So-
good. Okay, well, I think maybe we'll wrap this up for today. But as always, this is very informative. I'm really glad we have this opportunity to talk to the public. And I would like to make sure you're coming back next month. I'm sure you are.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And until then, Bella Vista, this is JB Portillo with Bella Vista Community TV. And please take us up on the studio audience thing. You can
Okay.
actually come any Wednesday
Yeah.
and watch what we do. We'll give you a tour. We are an all 100% volunteer organization. So we would love your support, and we would love to be doing what you would like us to do. Until next time, see you then.